Hello, New Hope families. This is Mr. King, head of school, wanting to just reach out and say hello again. And I hope that you and your family are doing well during this time. And families, it's hard to believe that it's almost been a month since we've been out of session here at New Hope. We are entering into week 4, and I know that K-12 instruction is well underway. And I even saw several things coming home from the ELC as well. And one of my favorite moments this past week was watching my little guy, who was 2 years old, dance to a song that his teacher sent out to him, making the motions and even so much as going into throwing in a Roll Tide reference when they were singing one of their songs. So it's been fun to see a lot of things coming home, and I know parents that your teachers and administrators are working hard with you as we walk into this new season of this online learning platform. You know, during this time, there's a lot of discussion about gaps and distances and distancing and social distancing. In the education world, we're talking about learning gaps and different things that might need to be addressed later on down the road as schools are still closed for extended periods of time. There's also discussions about, you know, in our world about physical limitations and gaps and social gaps and relationship gaps. One of the things that I wanted to remind our families of this morning is that great gap that existed between mankind and our Creator God. The greatest social distancing gap that's ever existed. A gap that was separated by sin, a gap that was created by sin. And during this time of the Easter season, I just want to remind our families about the author and perfecter of social distancing elimination. We have a lot of experts in the field right now that are talking about ways to engage and ways to not be separated and during this time, or ways to connect with people. But I would remind us today of the one who is the absolute expert and proven expert of bridging gaps, of eliminating gaps, and being perfect in the gap filling business. You know, when we think about just this Easter season coming up and that great divide that existed between man and God, God was always in the business of reconciling those who are distanced, those who are separated by sin, and those who are separated in a way that man could never fill, a man could never fix. Just in one of the most common scriptures in the Bible, I just want to read to you this morning. He said, "For God so loved the world that he gave his only Son, that whosoever believes in him should not perish, but have everlasting life." And here's the part that people sometimes forget in John 3:17. "For God did not send his Son into the world to condemn the world, but in order that the world might be saved through him." Families, I just want to challenge you this morning as you think about just this Easter season. Jesus was not sent to this world to distance people from himself. He was sent to bridge. He was sent to reconcile. He was sent to eliminate that social distance gap between us and God, to give us the name of being a son and a daughter of God, to adopt us, to bring us into his family, to give us his name, and to make us co-heirs with Christ. And that's the most amazing part about this Easter season. And God reached right into our brokenness. He reached right into the gap that we could never fill. He chose us, he pulled us out, and he claimed us as his own. And during this time of social distancing and social craziness, I guess you'd call it, let's not forget that original gift, that original bridge that existed, and the original bridge that was created by the perfect sacrifice of Jesus Christ as we move into this Easter season. Families, a couple other things that I wanted to just bring to your attention. If you haven't yet looked at or received your email that was sent out last week about re-enrollment, we recently sent out some things with some changes for the re-enrollment season for 2020 and 21. So please take a look at those things. We're trying to make some changes, being sensitive to the times and being sensitive to some of the struggles that we may be experiencing as a family during this pandemic. So again, please take a look at those. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. But again, that re-enrollment season is underway, and we look forward to the many days and months and years ahead as we work together as a Statesman community. And I wouldn't want to do this with anybody else. Thank you so much again for all you do. Thank you so much for being a part of this community of New Hope. And again, I look forward to the many days, months, and years ahead that God has in store for this community. Have a great one.